This is my first video update coming to you from Nicosia, Cyprus on this Wednesday evening, a rainy Wednesday evening here in Nicosia. Let's talk about some news. The first story I want to talk about is a story coming out of Poland from Dziennik Gazeta Prawna. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I know I'm not. They are running a story saying that Biden may meet with Zelensky and Duda in Poland. And the meeting may take place in Warsaw, and Zelensky is expected to present a peace plan and call for an international conference dedicated to Ukraine. Now, I can't confirm this news, but I can definitely see something like this being cooked up. I can definitely see the Biden White House putting together some sort of 1-year commemoration or something like that to take place in Poland, and they drag Biden from DC all the way to Poland. They bring out Ursula von der Crazy, Duda, Zelensky, and they put together some sort of an event to mark the 1 year, let's just say 1 year anniversary of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And they use the event in order to present some sort of a no-go peace plan, which would be something along the lines of Russia has to leave all of the territories, including Crimea. The Putin government has to resign, and tribunals as well. And that's going to be the peace plan that they're going to put forward. And then they're going to also use the opportunity to raise more money and get more weapons. Of course, they have to raise money and get weapons. So I can see something like this happening, even though I can't confirm that this story of a Biden trip to Poland is accurate, is 100%. I can definitely see something like this being cooked up. So I thought that was an interesting bit of news. It's getting really, really bad for the Zelensky regime when they have to, put together Zelensky regime, the neocons, all of these people. It's bad when they have to put together events like this. It's that means that they're panicking and that they're nervous, but they also want to find ways to keep the attention and the money on Ukraine. So they have to come up with events like this. So we have that bit of news. We have some news about weapons going to Ukraine. Let's start off with Spain. El País, the newspaper El País, is saying that Spain plans to transfer 4 to 6 Leopard tanks, two A4 Leopard tanks to Ukraine. Greece, according to the TV channel ET, is saying that the Mitsotakis government will not transfer Leopard tanks to Ukraine because the Mitsotakis government is nervous about Turkey, and so they are saying that they cannot afford to transfer tanks to Ukraine, even though Bild, the German publication Bild, says that Greece has, what's the number here, according to Bild? 350 Leopard 2s and 500 Leopard 1s, according to Bild. That's how many Leopards Greece has in their inventory, but they're not going to transfer any of those tanks to Ukraine. The real reason the Mitsotakis government doesn't want to give Leopard tanks to Ukraine or any weapons to Ukraine is because the first time Greece actually transferred weapons to Ukraine, they transferred something like four planes full of weapons to Ukraine like 8-9 months ago. And when they transferred those weapons to Ukraine, the Greek people were absolutely furious with the Mitsotakis government. And so Greece has elections. I believe elections are taking place in June, and they understand that if they were to send Leopard tanks to Ukraine to fight the Russians, then the Mitsotakis government would absolutely lose those elections. So he's using the excuse of Turkey. The real reasons he doesn't want to do it is because of the political fallout that would hit his government, and that is why they're being given. The Greek government is being given a pass. They're being let off the hook with regards to sending Leopards to Ukraine. I imagine the neocons and the neolibs, the collective West, they probably told Mitsotakis, you know what? you're so EU friendly, you're so neolib, neocon, collective West friendly that it's better that you stay in power than to risk having some sort of government shakeup. So, we're going to give you a buy. We're going to give you a pass with the Leopard tanks to Ukraine. So they're off the hook. France, on the other hand, well, the French defense minister said this with regards to weapons to Ukraine, including fighter jets. He said, and I quote, "There is no taboo for Paris on the issue of possible deliveries of fighter jets to Ukraine." So France's position is, yeah, let's get fighter jets to Ukraine. Meanwhile, Poland, they announced that they are not going to deliver fighter jets to Ukraine. And I believe Rishi Sunak and the UK government also said that fighter jets to Ukraine are off the table. So France is taking a different approach, a different policy with regards to fighter jets to Ukraine. It does look like the main powers of the collective West so far at the moment are trying to move away from sending F-16s and fighter jets to Ukraine. France is taking a much more bellicose, a much more bullish position with regards to fighter jets being sent to Ukraine, which is interesting to see Macron being such a warmonger, such a war hawk. Not that he isn't a warmonger and war hawk, but in this instance, he's taking a much more aggressive approach with regards to sending F-16s to Ukraine. An interesting story out of Poland again, and that is that Polish military instructors, they believe that they found a way to train the Ukraine military to use the Leopard tanks from 10 weeks to 5 weeks. I don't know how they're doing it, but the Polish military instructors who are training Ukraine military on how to use the Leopard 2 tanks, they're saying that what should take 10 weeks to train them on Leopard 2s, they can actually get it down to just 5 weeks. And this is insane, in my opinion. This sounds absolutely insane. 10 weeks sounds insane. Can you imagine to train someone 10 weeks? Now, I'm not an expert. Maybe it is 10 weeks, but to train them 10 weeks and then send them to the front lines, send them into battle in just 10 weeks' time. And now you have the Polish military instructor saying, you know what? We don't need 10 weeks. We can actually get it down to 5. 5 weeks, and there you go. Off to Bakhmut or wherever. That sounds insane. I don't know. Maybe it's possible. Maybe they can do it. I'm not sure, but that's 1 month. 1 month of training on a Leopard 2, and you're good to go. That's what the Polish military instructors are saying. Very, very interesting statement there. The Ukraine foreign minister said that Ukraine is going to receive 120 to 140 tanks in the first wave of deliveries. That's going to be the first wave, and the total amount of tanks is going to be 321. And I think that's an interesting bit of news, because just the other day, the Ukraine government was saying that, I think the defense ministry was saying that they actually have 1,000 Soviet tanks. They already have 1,000 Soviet tanks. And so if they have all these Soviet tanks, as Brian Berletic of the New Atlas said the other day in his video, if they have 1,000 Soviet tanks, then what difference is 120 Leopard 2 tanks going to make? Unless you don't have 1,000 Soviet tanks, which is the most likely scenario. They don't have 1,000 Soviet tanks. That's why even 100 Leopard tanks is good enough for them. One thing that we talked about in my video a couple of days ago was the constant escalation in what the Ukraine government is asking for in terms of weapons. And I said in my video the other day that we started with helmets, and then we moved on to drones, and then to HIMARS, and now we're on to tanks, and now there's this back and forth about fighter jets. And I said in my video, you watch. Pretty soon, someone in Ukraine is going to say, we want nukes. You watch, someone is going to say it. Well, I thought that would take maybe a month or two. It took a day or two, because we have the Ukrainian ambassador to Germany, Alexei Makiev, saying this: the security guarantee is what we thought we got from the Budapest Memorandum back in 1994. But unfortunately, these were not guarantees. That's why we want to start this discussion. In other words, we want to talk about getting nukes. That's it. It only took them 2 days to go from fighter jets to nukes. That's it, 2 days. And we have the Ukrainian ambassador to Germany now talking about getting nuclear weapons. Why does Ukraine send these crazy ambassadors to Germany? What's the deal with that? What's the deal with sending these loco ambassadors to Germany who come up with these crazy statements? I don't get it. So yeah, that was fast. The nuke talk was pretty quick, huh? Just 2 days and we're already talking about nuclear weapons. That's not going to go over well with Russia. That's not going to go over well at all. The Biden administration, well, they're preparing a $2.2 billion military aid package for Ukraine, according to Reuters. And according to Reuters, this military package will include GLSDB, ground-launched small-diameter bomb missiles with a range of 150 kilometers. So we're not going to get the 300-kilometer range ATACMS, but we are going to get the 150-kilometer range GLSDB, ground-launched small-diameter bomb missiles. Now, according to Reuters, one of the reasons why the Biden administration wants to get this 150-kilometer range weapon to Ukraine is because the parts of this weapon are cheap. They're pretty cheap to get a hold of, and they have them in inventory. That is one of the driving factors for providing this to Ukraine. Of course, the goal is to strike at Russian territory, but according to Reuters, this is actually a weapon that the U.S. has a lot of, and the parts that make up this weapon are fairly inexpensive. That is one of the driving factors. The Reuters article actually reads, the title is Exclusive, U.S. Weighs Sending 100-Mile Strike Weapon to Ukraine. And Reuters says that the M26 rocket motor is relatively abundant, and the GBU-39 costs about $40,000 each, making the completed GLSDB inexpensive and its main components readily available. We got it in inventory, and the parts are cheap, 150 kilometers. Send it to Zelensky. Is it ATACMS? Is it 300 kilometers? No. Is it fighter jets? No. But it's something, and it's something we got, and it's something that's inexpensive. So when the Russians destroy it, we don't really care that much, and we can produce more, I guess. So there it is. So that's the compromise that we're getting from this whole Biden says no to fighter jets thing that went down the other day. This is going to be the compromise that they're going to provide to Ukraine. We had a poll out the other day, which is saying that support for Ukraine is starting to fade. And this poll was conducted by, let's see here, by Pew, a Pew Research poll. A growing number of Americans believe that the U.S. is sending too much aid to Ukraine, with more than a quarter now saying that the administration of President Joe Biden is being too generous. Published on Tuesday, the poll found that 26% of Americans now say that the U.S. is giving too much aid, up from just 7% last March, while 20% of respondents said that the U.S. should give more, and 31% say the amount is about right. The findings show a dramatic change since March of last year, when 42% told Pew that they felt the U.S. wasn't doing enough for Ukraine. So support for Ukraine is starting to wane. It is starting to go down, which is why Reuters, they published an article which coincides with this Pew Research poll entitled U.S. Funds Not Misused in Ukraine, U.S. Treasury Says, Amid Corruption Crackdown. The U.S. Treasury Department on Tuesday said it had no indication that U.S. funds had been misused in Ukraine, but would continue to work closely with Ukrainian authorities to ensure appropriate safeguards were in place to avert corruption. This is according to Reuters. So you understand how this works? Pew does a research poll. It finds that Americans are starting to get more disillusioned with Project Ukraine. They say the Biden administration is spending too much money on Ukraine. And one of the reasons that Americans are so upset with Ukraine is because they understand, with the money going to Ukraine, is because they understand that Ukraine is absolutely, completely corrupt, and the money that's going to Zelensky is disappearing. There's no audit. No one knows what it's being used for. A whole new generation of oligarchs is being produced right now in Ukraine. And so in order to deal with American public's dismay and disillusionment with Ukraine and all the billions that have been sent and lost in Ukraine, Reuters runs an article citing a U.S. Treasury official who now says, you know what, we've done our investigation and we're finding no corruption in Ukraine. We're finding no corruption in Ukraine. All is good. Quote, we have no indication that U.S. funds have been misused in Ukraine, Treasury spokesperson Megan Aper said in response to a query from Reuters. Okay, so we have the person, Megan Aper, Treasury spokesperson. Quote, we welcome the ongoing efforts by the Ukrainian authorities to work with us to ensure appropriate safeguards are in place so that U.S. assistance reaches those for whom it is intended. Yeah, just trust Ukraine. Absolutely. Why not? Why not? If Ukraine is telling you that the money that you're sending to them is being used properly and it's going to the right people in the right places, absolutely, U.S. Treasury. If Ukraine is saying that the money's not being stolen, then trust them 100%. That's pretty much what the U.S. Treasury spokesperson is saying. Incredible, huh? Absolutely incredible. What else do I have here? Let's see. Trudeau discussed with Zelensky issues of further assistance to Ukraine the other day. The Canadian Prime Minister confirmed that Ottawa will continue to support Kiev for, and I quote, as long as it takes. For as long as it takes. I think Canada is on the hook for, is it 4 Leopard tanks to Ukraine? Is that what they pledged? Something like that. Something like 4 or 6 Leopard tanks is going to be their contribution to Ukraine. So Zelensky called up Trudeau, huh? Justin, this is Volodymyr Zelensky. Oh, hey, Volodymyr. How are you doing? I'm doing very good, Justin. Listen, I need some tanks. I need some more tanks. 6 tanks is not enough. Justin. Oh yeah, sure, Volodymyr. I'll send you. I don't know, maybe. Let's see. I'm sending 4. I'll send you another 4 more. Cheetah tanks. Cheetah tanks. Justin, you idiot. Leopard They are called Leopard tanks. Oh, Leopard. Yeah, Leopard. Yeah, don't worry, Volodymyr. Canada supports you for as much as it takes. We support you for as much as it takes. Trudeau, you idiot. It's as long as it takes, not as much as it takes. No wonder you never made it to Hollywood. You can't read a simple script, can you? Do it again. Read it again, and this time, show some emotion. Oh, yes, I've got the script in front of me. You're right. Canada supports you for as long as it takes. As long as it takes. Okay, Justin. Thank you very much. And also, please send me $10 billion. I need to buy another home. Oh, okay. Let me just run it by Christia. She's our finance minister. And let me just get her approval, and we'll send you that money right away. Thank you. Thank you, Justin. Bye-bye. That's probably how the phone call went. I'm sure that Trudeau messes up his lines often. I'm positive of it. Anyway, that is the news coming out of Canada with the phone call between Trudeau and Zelensky. And now let's do a quick clown world. And this is coming out of Germany. And it claims that the office of German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has grown displeased with Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock. And according to Bild, Olaf Scholz is actually logging all of Annalena's mistakes. In the Chancellor's office, Baerbock's mistakes are being carefully noted. A government insider was quoted as saying to Bild newspaper. That must be a pretty big book if you are documenting all of Annalena's mistakes. Pretty much anytime she opens her mouth, you can log it as some sort of mistake. Oh boy. Olaf. He's a good manager, isn't he, Olaf Scholz? He's showing what a good and competent manager he is by logging all of the mistakes of his foreign minister. Incredible. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are also on Rockfin as well. And go to the Duran shop, 10% off. Use the code Good Day. Take care.